This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social. I'm delighted to be joined today by Dave Coldwell. We're here in Riyadh, Diriyah in Saudi Arabia. Lovely exotic location ahead of Joshua Ruiz too. How you doing, Dave?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm really good, thanks.
Enjoying it out here in Saudi?
Yes, it's an experience. It's the public workout was brilliant. Press conference yesterday was fun. It's good. Yeah.
What have you been up to?
Other than that, there's not a lot to do, mate. I'm struggling with trying to kill time. Managed to fit in a couple of training sessions. Been for a walk yesterday, but there's nothing to walk to really. Other than the boxing stuff and interviews with you guys, there's not a lot to do.
How does it differ to say, apart from the obvious, differ to a fight week in say Las Vegas or New York? How is it different, and what kind of stuff would you be doing there that you're not doing here?
Well, there's stuff to do when you're in Vegas or New York or wherever. This is very it's similar to where we was at in Japan. We was at a place called Yokohama, I think it was, just outside Tokyo. There was nothing to do, nowhere to go. But here it's weird because when you do go walking on the streets and there's nobody about, and it's just there's a lot of dust from the road work because there's a lot of building works and things like that. So it's a little bit different. It's a lot different, to be honest.
Well, seeing as we are having a little bit of downtime today. It's a free day, which you don't usually get in a busy fight week such as this. We're going to do something a little bit different today. I'm sure you've been asked dozens of times about the fight this week, so we won't go over old ground, so to speak. And we're going to talk about you, selfless man as you are. You're always talking about everybody else and other fighters and Hopi Price, etc. So we're going to talk about you today. A lot of people will know you as Dave Coldwell, the trainer, Dave Coldwell, the pundit, Sky Sports, Dave Coldwell, etc. Maybe some of our viewers won't be familiar with your professional boxing career, the fact that you promoted. You don't have to wince. We won't have to go into it too detailed if you don't want to, Dave. Talk to me a little bit about how you got started in boxing. How did you get into this weird and wonderful sport that we all are in?
I started because I used to get bullied. I've got bullied as a kid. I didn't have the best childhood, either at school or at home. I kind of got fed up of getting hammered, getting picked on, and So I started it because do you know when I was a kid, the films that were like the big films at the time was Karate Kid. Basically, it was about a kid that would get bullied or get beat up or whatever. Ended up started karate with an idea of confidence, and I was like, I need to do a bit of that. But I actually liked boxing because growing up it was like Tyson. I used to get up in the middle of the night to watch him, and I remember watching. I came in from football training, and there was this fight on. It was round, and it just this guy mad on the ropes, was flurrying shots off, dancing away. It turned out to be round 9 of Ray Leonard against Hagler, and they're my memories of boxing. Mike Tyson, Ray Leonard, round 9 against Hagler. And then I always wanted to box. My mum would never let me. And so I got to 15, I left home. And when I left home, I started boxing. And it was the best thing I ever did.
You left home at 15? How come you left home so young?
Because I didn't have a good time at home. My parents were alcoholics. And me and my mum, it wasn't a good vibe.
Is that something that, if you don't want to talk about it, that's absolutely fine. Is that something that's kind of an ongoing thing? Do you have a relationship with your parents now?
My dad died. My dad died of cancer. And my mum, I'm in contact with her and stuff because she's had cancer. I've got I've got kids, so I kind of like. My wife, she was the one that kind of said, look, you need to kind of like have a bit of a relationship. Just she wants to see my kids. She's not interested in me. She just wants to see my kids. I don't go and visit her because, well, not often, because when I do, it's just shit. but I'll speak to her. I'll see how she is and whatever. But yeah, there's not much relationship. But I will every so often. I will take my kids over for her to see her.
Yeah, it's something that I think it's not the same thing. But I mean, as you grow up and you have to kind of, I mean, I have a young daughter myself, and I don't have certainly that type of relationship with my mother, but not always been seen eye to eye. My parents were actually divorced when I was a couple of months before I turned 13, which I'm sure, as you know, growing up is not a great age for something like that to happen. But you kind of get to a point where you have to put things past.
I mean, I actually used to wish that my parents get divorced, so I could leave the house and like maybe perhaps go and live with my dad. So yeah, that was a little bit of a yeah. Do you know what? I wouldn't change a thing because what I went through at home has made me the parent that I am now, and I'm not I will never say that I'm a good coach. I will never say I'm good at what I do for Sky. I don't really give myself credit in them sort of respects. But what I will say is that I'm a wicked dad, and that I owe to what I went through because I know what not to do. So yeah, it shaped my life because I don't drink. I mean, when Bellew beat Hay, when he beat Macabre, then I get absolutely smashed. I get absolutely smashed. And I've had, before that, maybe like once or twice a year I'll have a drink, but I haven't had a drink since he beat David A. I'm not bothered. I don't because I'm conscious about what alcohol does. So it shaped me as a person. I know that you need to be there for your kids and make your kids feel as though they can do anything. Because I didn't have that. All my mum ever did was tell me I'll never do anything in my life, and tell me that I was shit at everything and never achieve anything. And this, bear in mind, I left home at 15. So this was when I was young, and kids back then, I'm 44 now, kids back then were younger than what they are now. I mean, a 15-year-old kid now is almost like an adult. Yeah, so I know, I make my kids believe that they can do anything, and as long as they're willing to work hard, as long as they're willing to work harder than anybody else, then why can't you be the best in the world? So it shaped me. So I wouldn't change that, because if I didn't go through what I did, I wouldn't be what I am now and doing what I am now. Do you know what I mean? So and now, life's wicked. So and it's all because of that. It's all because of the path that I went on. If I'd have just had a normal childhood, if I'd have not got the shit I got at school, if I'd had a loving mum and dad, I wouldn't be sat here now. I wouldn't be doing this, because I would never have started boxing. I would never have done that. Wouldn't have felt that I needed to. So everything happens for a reason.
I didn't know about your father passing away. Were you able to get any kind of closure before he passed away, or was that something that was kind of left unsaid?
With my dad, yeah. My dad, he was a very quiet fella. I didn't have any relationship with him. It was a nice guy. It was a nice man, but he was ruled by my mother, and he would just work his bollocks off every day, come home, and I remember he'd just plonk himself in his favourite chair, and she would just shout from the kitchen that she needed him in the kitchen, he needs to do this, he needs to do that, and it was just like, here we go, and I have to get up. I always thought to myself, I'm never going to have a life like my dad. But yeah, because he lost his job because of his drinking, and then he never got basically never got another job again. So we grew up having no money and things. So that had an effect on me going to school, looking like a tramp, and getting. I got it from every angle. So I was, as I still am, I was the shortest guy in the room. I was back then. It's different now. There was me, a girl in my year, and then there was one black kid in the year above. That was it. Everybody else was white in a school of 1,500 people. So I'd get shit for that. and for being looking like a tramp. So yeah, that again is, you know, it added to not a very very happy place. But my dad, I never understood. I didn't know that he had a drinking problem until my mum went away for a few months, because my mum's Indian, my dad's English. So my mum she went back to, or I think, because my sister lives, I've got an half sister. She lives in America, so I don't know if my mum went to my sister's for 3 months or she went back home to her place for 3 months. But yeah, she told me, I think I was about 13 then. She told me that I had to look after my dad. I didn't quite understand what she was on about. Just carry on. But my dad, he was in bed every day, all day. Didn't go to work, nothing. Just in bed all day, every day. I'm going to school, coming back, I'm in bed, thinking, what's the matter? And then I remember one day, for some reason, I think I dropped something, or something that led me to have to look under the bed. And when I looked under his bed, I saw loads of Teacher's Scotch whiskies bottles empty, all under there. And when my mum come back from India, she basically blamed me for my dad and saying that I should have stopped him from drinking. Because when she came back, she found all empty bottles in cupboards, and it was just everywhere. And I didn't know that was why he was not going to work. I didn't know anything about drinking and stuff like that. But yeah, she blamed me for that. So yeah, my dad didn't have I can understand why he drank. Probably drank because of her. But then he'd be drinking buddies in the night, and then, you know, things got bad. But my dad was a good guy, and kind of, yeah. When my dad was alive, I'd go back and see him. I'd want to go back and see him. But then she'd always spoil it, so I'd literally be in the house for 10 minutes and I'd leave, and that was it. So yeah, we was all right when he died. Me and my dad. He never did anything wrong to me. He just made wrong choices in his life, but he was sound. It's just one of those that he never spoke. You try and speak to him. Hey mate, how's your day been? Yep, all right. That was it, and that was it. I could never get a conversation out of him. His idea of taking me for a kickabout in the park would be, because he was a big man, he'd just kick the ball as hard as he can, carry on walking with his hands in his pocket, and I'd just run and go and get the ball. It was a bit like what we do with dogs. It's kind of like that. But yeah, that was it.
I mean, you were able to kind of be on terms with him, some sort of terms with him before he died. Do you think you'll ever get there with your mum?
Do you know what? That's something that does eat away at me a little bit. It's hard because I'm only human, right? So, because of whenever I think about what my mum did and how she made my life, I hate her. But then when she rang me up on my daughter's birthday, we were on his way to take my daughter out. She knew it was my daughter's birthday. She rang me up on my daughter's birthday to tell me that my dad had got cancer. And she knew what she was doing. And I thought that they'd just come back from the hospital and she would tell me. But they'd known 3-4 weeks, and she chose that day to ring up. That was the kind of thing that she did. But then, for all the faults and everything, when she rang me up and told me that she got cancer, I burst out crying. So I found that so weird. I couldn't understand, and I mean, I broke down sobbing. I couldn't understand that because I thought, why? Because I don't like the woman. But I suppose I've always wanted. I don't know why. Still to this day, I don't know why. So, but I can't. Even when I'm in the presence, I try to forget about everything. But and although I'll put an affront in front of kids or anything like that, and she will still try and have a dig at me in front of my kids or in front of my wife. She will still try and make me feel small, for a better word. Yeah. So, and then that just fucks me off. So yeah, it's weird. So I actually, fucking hell, I actually dread because I dread the day that she dies, because I don't know how it's going to affect me. Because whenever I start feeling sorry for her, then I think about the things that she did. It's like, even as an adult, when my gran died, I was so close to my gran. My gran was like my mum. She was the only one in my family, that said to me, stick with your dreams, stick with it. You know, I was skint, I was in debt and everything. And she'd say, do you believe in yourself? Do you think you're going to make any money out of this game? And I was like, yeah. And she said, well, stick at it then. But when my gran died, they told me the wrong time for when they were going to scatter her ashes. And so I turned up and I'd missed it. And she knew what she was doing. So I think about things like that. These pop up into my head. So then I think to myself, there's too many things for me to be able to brush under the carpet, to be at ease with it, and kind of like be cool like me and my dad were when he died. So I worry for when she does die, because I've got half of me that doesn't give a shit, but then I've got a side to me that does, and I know will feel really, really bad, and it'll affect me in a bad way. So yeah, it's not something that I'm looking forward to.
I imagine there's kind of an element of you not wanting to feel a certain way, and you kind of being mad at yourself for feeling you know. I can imagine the conflict. I mean, you left home at 15. Was there a final straw? Was it something that you looked forward to? What was it that pushed you out of the home at 15?
Oh yeah, there was. It was because at that moment I was about to bite back, and it would either have been, she would have been dead or I'd have been dead. And I remember it was a sunny day, and I caught a glimpse of myself, a reflection of myself in the kitchen window as I was about to do something, and I just thought, nah. So I didn't, and instead I went upstairs and I made the decision then to fuck off, and I did, and it's the best thing I ever did.
Where did you go?
To start off with, I went and I crashed at somebody's house, and then ended up at my gran's. It was just me and my gran, and yeah, so like I said, she was the only one in my family that, you know, that's ever given a shit about me, ever. That's ever like backed me or believed in me. And I was just so gutted, because I used to, when I got my first TV show with Frank Warren, it was a fight school show that was promoting. And it was the first time I got on TV, and it literally happened like a few months after she died, so she never got to see it, and she doesn't see this. You know, she's the one that I would love to have seen all this where I'm at today.
What was boxing for you at this point when you were 15? Was it kind of your salvation? Was it something to keep you distracted?
It was an escape. It was a dream. It was, it was everything. It was where I had friends in a boxing gym. You know, I had laughs in the boxing gym. I didn't have it outside the boxing gym. You know, I loved it. I loved, there was Johnny Nelson, massive influence on me. Clifton Mitchell, there was Naz, there was John Thaxton, Pelly Reid. There was so many, and then there was guys like Graham Burton, Wayne Windle, people like that were classed as journeymen them days, but they were real fighters, win some, lose some. And they were, you know, I looked up to them all, and the guys in that gym were all a big reason why I'm able to do what I'm doing today. Because I had no confidence when I walked in that gym. You know, Brendan built me up from scratch. So yeah, that gym was everything. It was an escape. It was a salvation almost, but it was a dream. It was always a dream because there was always something to shoot for. Be it Naz, your Johnnies, people that are doing great things. TV cameras coming into the gym and thinking, oh, one day that's going to be me. It was always things like that. So yeah, it was good times.
It's kind of where I was going to go with it, really. I mean, that gym at that time with those guys in it couldn't really have been a better outlet for you to go to. I mean, everybody knows the stories of go and talk to the wall, go and dance, go and do this, go and do that. For somebody such a, I can imagine you would have. For somebody who had been, had no confidence and had no support from your home. I mean, how lucky now you're looking back do you feel that it was that gym at that time with that trainer and those fighters and not, say, just a random other gym? How beneficial was that for you at that time?
That was gym more, it was, especially in those days, it was more than just boxing. It was about character building. It was about creating men. And I generally don't believe that anywhere I'd have gone to would have, for my personality, for my character, I don't know how things would have worked out. Because it was strange. Because all I wanted to do was do what you see on Rocky and do what you see. I actually started 2 days after Ben Eubank won. That's when I actually started boxing. But if I'd have gone into another gym, I don't know if it had got me as much, because it was the personalities in the gym at that time. And it wasn't just a case of going into a boxing gym, it was the personalities. And I think personalities are what creates a gym and a gym environment, and how fighters develop in that gym. I think a lot to do with the personalities in there. It only has to be one person. It only has to be one person that you can identify with, that you can click with, and that can influence you, where you respect that opinion, and then that can change your whole life. But in that gym, I had quite a few. Everybody aspired to be Naz. Naz. When I first started at a gym, Naz was just turning pro. It wasn't even pro yet. I think it might have been a few months or a year or something before he had his debut at Mansfield. But there was Bomber Graham in there, and there was people like that, Slugger too. But then once I became a fighter, once I started having amateur fights, then it was about the Naz journey and things like that. But I always identified with Johnny, because Johnny got off to a bad start. Johnny didn't have confidence and things like that. So I identified more with him. And I would kind of like follow him around the gym. He'd do his press-ups, he'd do his pull-ups and his dips. So I would follow him around and try and do them with him. And to this day, his influence on me on a physical aspect, and keep it, because he's obviously, I'm getting old, he's older than me. But yeah, he's still in great shape. And I've always kind of aspired to kind of be like that. But as a fighter, I always thought, and my dream was to be another Johnny Nelson, where you get up to a bad start, but then you turn it around and you'll come through. That was more realistic to me than being a Prince Nassim. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously he was unbeaten, superstar and everything. I knew that was never going to happen to me, but it wasn't to be.
Now, for somebody who came from a home with little to no support, I think it's fair to say, how big of an influence was Brendan Ingle on you when you went into the Engl Gym?
Yeah, it was a big. Do you know what? You don't realise it at the time. I think that's a lot like kids are with parents. You don't realise the influence that they've got on you and what they're actually doing for you, because a lot of times they'll piss you off. A lot of times you want to do something else instead of doing what you're doing. But it's what they're actually doing that develops you and shapes you as how you're going to go forward. So at the time, for the first few years, it was. I did understand what was going on, and I did, I had all the time in the world. But then, when you get older and you get your own house and you have to do all the things, and then you can't do things that Brendan's wanting you to do, that's when things start going where you're like, well, you can't be pissed off at me because I can't. I've got to go and do shopping. I've got to look after my house. So that's where it's kind of like when a child goes from doing everything that the parent tells him to then starts wanting to live his own life a little bit, but still the parent saying you need to do this, you need to do that, still trying to shape you as a young adult, but there's a conflict there. And I think that's what happens with a lot of people. We a lot of people that are with coaches for a long time. I think it gets to a point where people change. Mentalities adapt, and as you age, I'm different now at 44 to what I was at 30. I was different at 30 to what I was at 15. You change. But Brendan was a massive influence on me. The time that he spent, the places that we used to go, and just the conversations, the lectures, things like that. And he'd be talking to somebody else, giving somebody else a bollocking, and he'd shout you up as a witness. And you'd be listening to them, and half the time you're like, I just want to hit bike, I just want to train. And you might be you might be stood there for an hour, and then like at the end of it, you're like, take some pads, take it on tomorrow. Like, okay. But it's a mental training. So you don't realise at the time how much of an influence and how much of an impact it is. But his way of training was great.
And we all hear the stories about, they have the lines and then you have the talking to the wall, which is something we just mentioned here. Elaborate on that a little bit. Tell me about your own experiences of kind of Brendan's way of training.
The footwork, I got the footwork. I understand what he was. I've always been excuse me, I got something stuck in my throat. I've always been where I kind of like, I'm willing to put in the foundations, because I've always understood my place. I've always known I'm not the most talented person at anything I do. I just have to work hard, really hard. And I have got something stuck in my throat. I don't know what it is. A really itchy throat. But the footwork was great. I understood that. Other people would be bored of it, and it can be boring, but there's a means to an end. It was the talking that you learnt a lot from. And that was a big part of his coaching, a big part of it. But I just enjoyed it all. I enjoyed the pad work. I used to love the pads. I enjoyed it all. I just loved training.
What did you take from Brendan, if anything, in your? I mean, I'm sure subconsciously you'd have taken no end of information. But is there anything specific that you've kind of tailored from what Brendan taught you into your own role as a coach or a trainer?
I don't. Do you know what? I don't actually train the same way as. I don't train fighters the same way as I was coached. I think people thought I would do, but I don't. As you get old, you have different methods, you have different ways of thinking. But the principles are the same. Footwork and balance are imperative. That's a big part of what I do for my fighters, that I take away from there. Footwork and balance. You vary it a little bit to suit different fighters, but the fundamentals are there. Character of fighters is something that I've always looked into, probably because of how I was brought up in the gym as well.
You ever made anybody talk to the wall?
No. Or sing. Fucking. Oh, mate, you used to hate. You have to get in that ring and sing. Oh, the most embarrassing thing in the world. The worst thing was if any TV cameras came. It'd be a nightmare. You'd shit yourself. Think, please not me. And then you just get, Davey, off you go. Like, fuck.
Did you ever resist? Did you ever try and say no?
No. You can't. No. No, you do what you're told.
I mean, it's obviously worked because, I mean, you're here, you're doing interviews, you're on the TV. I mean, so obviously, as we've mentioned before, kind of as the years go by.
It's a massive part, because I remember the first time I ever did an interview was with Calendar. Calendar came down from ours and they just wanted to talk to a kid in the gym, and they stuck a mic in front of my face and I just started sweating. Just started sweating, and I just didn't know what to do. And I was like, shit. But I used to stay behind and I'd watch Johnny do interviews all the time. Johnny's always been good at interviews. And I'd just stay behind and watch him talk and just listen to him. And I learned by listening to so many interviews in that gym. And I just learned how to be a little bit more relaxed. And, yeah, that's how it is.
Talk to me about Naz in the gym. Now, we all hear the legends, the stories, and kind of the mythology of Nassim Hamed in the gym at the Engle Gym. You were there firsthand. You've got as good or a better vantage point of anybody.
With the fights, on fight week and stuff like that. Unbelievable. Massive character. Massive talent. Fucking unbelievable, incredible puncher. You don't understand the size of the guys that used to beat up in the gym. Smash up. It was just a one-off character. But things went to his head. And you saw a change. You saw a change in his personality. You saw a change where then you just thought he was bigger and better than anything. And that's when the slide kind of happened. But a huge character, and it was just unreal. Great atmosphere. Fight week could be unreal. You'd be staying at hotels. Night before a fight, you'd be walking around the towns and going into a snooker club at like 2:30.
We're back. Dave Coldwell is still alive, thankfully. I've been told that I bore people to death quite often, actually. Luckily, we didn't have our first official fatality on Boxing Social. Dave Coldwell's still with us. Prince Nassim Hamed, during fight week, I think is where we got to before we started choking.
Fight week is an unbelievable experience. Just so unique, and he would be up doing mad things, crazy. Just night before a fight, before a world title defence, would be, whether it's Manchester, London, wherever it was he was fighting, walking around the streets, finding a snooker club, a pool club, up till 2:00 there, go back to the hotel, just chat, have a laugh until everybody starts falling asleep, and it'd probably go to bed at about 4:00, night before a fight, and it'd do things completely the wrong way around. You know, if you as a coach and found out your fighter was doing that, you'd be like going up the wall. But it worked for him. How he was, it worked for him. The build-ups of fights and everything were crazy. It was nuts, you know. He was always outspoken, obviously. The attention and the media that he got was unreal. It really was.
It's often said about kind of the sporting geniuses, as it were, or maverick types, which obviously he would fall into that maverick category, absolutely, that they kind of do things their own way. Is that what you saw with Naz?
100%, yeah. But he was a flawed genius, you know, and a lot of geniuses are, yeah. And the way that it unravelled was quite sad to see. You never saw the best of Naz. We did in the gyms and what he was doing, but he never. Although what he did do was spectacular and unbelievable, and he changed the face of boxing for the lighter weights because he was the one that brought the big money in. Nobody used to get paid big until he started opening his mouth. But yeah, the way it unravelled was a bit unsatisfactory. It was a bit sad, you know. The split with Brendan, the split with Frank Warren. I mean, those two created him, and you know, it was his personality and his fighting performances. But what Brendan did in the gym and psychological wise, and what Warren did, building him up and creating him into a superstar, was brilliant. But they chose to go their own way.
Did you start to see kind of the decline, as it were? Did you start to see the breakup of the relationship from the inside? Yeah,
you did, yeah, because you just out of respect for Brendan, yeah, the way that he would speak to Brendan at times, wasn't nice. It wasn't nice to see. Whether or not you agreed what Brendan would do or say at times, that's, you know, we all have different opinions, you know. Amongst us here, we can be sat talking and we have different. But the way that he'd speak and talk to him and shout at him in front of everybody wasn't nice. There's two sides to Naz. Naz was like a lovely kid, a really nice kid, really personable, really funny, energetic. But then on another day, he could be a right bastard, and he could just be, horrible to be around. And that's what Naz was, and that's part of his makeup. That's part of why he became such a spectacular fighter. But that's also part of why he ended up having the decline and perhaps didn't achieve what we thought he was going to achieve.
Considering, everybody looks back at that period of time, and particularly that gym, that stable, that Naz was obviously the spearhead of. Yeah. What was that like for the guys in the gym to see that, and also to see the decline of it, and to see him arguing with Brendan and falling out of Brendan? I can imagine that must have been very, very difficult to be around for the guys in the gym.
Yeah, sometimes it'd be awkward. When Naz was in, there was only like a few of us that would be in at the same time, so he didn't have the packed gym. It wasn't like packed, but it wasn't nice to see. And the decline started way back before he got beat. I think really the worst thing that ever happened was when he knocked out Saeed Lawal, because he just did him, basically dropped him with his first shot and then got rid of him in a few seconds later, and then from then on he just walked to the centre of the ring looking to knock everybody out with his hands up, and that's it, which took away from the style that he developed with Brendan and of making him miss and countering and being smart and sharp. But even for Steve Robinson, he didn't start training until late, and that was his world title fight. He just, So the decline started. I remember he used to train every day, and then I remember when he signed the Sky deal. Back then, it was it was the massive instant millionaire, big Sky deal. And I remember him coming in and saying to Brendan, he said, "I'm training 8 weeks to fight now." That's a decline there, because from training every day, whether you've got a fight date or not, training to improve, then he'd be training for a fight, but then he'd be coming back into the gym heavy, having to lose the weight, get down in weight, and so the decline is there, But it's just that it was that good. It took a long time before you saw the end product of the decline.
When you talk about the decline, it's interesting you would mention the Steve Robinson fight, because by all accounts that was one of his standout performances throughout his career, so it's interesting that you would say that. Were you surprised when he eventually did get beaten by Marco Antonio Barrera?
When we saw the I think they released a video just before the fight.
Little Prince big fight.
It was like, wow. Because obviously by then he left the gym. So when you don't train with people anymore, when you don't see them in the gym, you don't know what's going on. We hear rumours, but you don't know. And when we saw that, it was like, wow. So when he did get beat, it didn't really surprise you. It wasn't really a shock. It wasn't nice to see. It was sad to see. But we always thought, because the way he was vicious. He was vicious. You'd hit him with a shot, and it'd be the worst thing you'd ever do, because then he'd just smash you to shit. We always used to say, feel sorry for whoever beats Naz, because he'll absolutely smash him in rematch. But it never went that way. And he got beat, and it kind of just completely deflated him, and that was it, really. I know he came back and beat Manuel Calvo, but that was a so-so fight, and then never fought again. And it was weird.
Were you surprised? Obviously you've mentioned the fact that you would have expected the rematch to have happened. Were you surprised that he just kind of, because I think it was 29 when he retired, Naz?
Yeah, so early. But listen, in hindsight, he did the best thing, because he obviously didn't want to do it anymore. When a fighter doesn't want to do it anymore, get out, enjoy what you've created, enjoy what you've achieved, and just get on with your life. And that's what he did. So he made the right decision. Can't turn around and say, he retired too early. No, because that's what he wanted to. He didn't want to box anymore. He'd been doing it from such a young age. He'd achieved everything that we would normally dream of. But for him, I still think it was an underachiever. There was so many more big fights that he would have won and could have won, but he didn't want to do it anymore. The money, the fame, the lifestyle, call it whatever you want, whatever reasons are, or just getting fed up of it. I've had kids where You get them to 5-6-0, and they've just decided they want to box, don't want to box anymore. It's life. It's personalities. Do you know what I mean?
What's your relationship like now with Naz? Do you see him? Do you ever speak to him?
No, he's rang me like randomly a couple of times. Like, you don't hear from him for like 5 years, 4 years, and you get a phone call. What?
What's that like?
Weird. It's all right. I got on with Naz. It's all right, but well, I won't say we're friends, not anymore. But he's all right. I just hope he's happy. I hope he's, I hope life's good. I didn't agree with a few things that he did. Back when, there are a couple of well publicised things that he did that I think were out of order. But he's all right. Whenever we've bumped into each other at shows a couple of times, and it's quite sad. It's quite sad because it brings back memories, and you think, oh, do you know what? But it's like, it is what it is.
Do you think he regrets how things went?
I would hope so. I'm not just talking about his boxing side of things. I'm talking about other things that he did. I would hope so.
I was fortunate enough to visit the Engl Gym before Brendan sadly passed away when he was very unwell. What were your kind of final memories of Brendan, and how did it feel when he eventually did pass away? Because he wasn't a well man for a long time.
Well, me and Brendan fell out, so I didn't speak to Brendan for a good few years after I left. I'm not the only one that fell out with him. It's just, like I said to you, it's just how things happen in life. And so, yeah, we'd not spoke for quite a while, and he'd not spoke to me when times when I've gone to say hello, and it kind of blanked me. But then the last time that I saw him, he said hello to me, and that was nice. That was nice. I thought, oh, cool. And I kind of thought, right, okay, that's that was nice. And then obviously he died, which was we was in Japan, and I remember Richard Towers was with me, and Richard's so close to Brendan. He's a good friend of mine, and he was with me. He was in the front seat, and I kind of I looked on Twitter, and I saw that Brendan had died. And when you're shocked and you kind of say it out loud. That's how I kind of announced it in car, but because I was reading it, I was shocked. It proper shocked me, and Richard was in car, and it upset Richard because Richard's a massive influence on Brendan's life. I wish he was on us all. Whether you end up falling out with him or not, it was a massive influence on your life. So yeah, it wasn't nice, but it's I'm glad we didn't make up. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like chatty, but just the fact that he said hello to me was like that. He'd not said hello to me for years. So just the fact that he said hello to me was kind of like, all right, cool.
Okay, well, before we wrap up, let's talk about Tony Bellew. For a lot of people, that's kind of your...
For a lot of people, they actually think that that's how I started coaching. I get that a lot. I think it's the Twitter generation that think that I just came along with Bellew, but I didn't. I've trained kids since 1996. I've had my own gym since 2000. My first champion was Chris Emmanuel, won a British Masters title. Then I had Lee McAllister, he's won a Commonwealth title. Ryan Rhodes came to me for the last 7 years of his career. We won the British, won the European, and fought Canelo for the world. Won a WBC silver and then fought Canelo for the world titles. Kell Brook came to me for a bit. He won the British. And then when Ryan retired, I retired, I was training I've trained loads of young kids and stuff like that, and then when Ryan retired, I got out of it, the training side of things, concentrate on promoting, and then after Tony Bellew got beat by Stevenson, I'd always been friends with Tony and everything. That's when he called me and asked me to come and join the party and go on a little adventure. It was a fucking great adventure.
I mean, taking him after that fight, you've got, let's be honest, dead at the weight, light heavyweight, who's just been stopped in the world title fight. His second world title loss, obviously had that narrow loss to Nathan Cleverly. Could you have, in your wildest dreams, have imagined that he would have 2 wins over David Haye?
The Haye thing was completely out of the blue, but the mission was always to become cruiserweight world champion. That was something nobody thought we would do. They were like, he's too small for cruiserweight, he's just a fat light heavyweight, rah rah, all that sort of shit. And it was just a process. Each time we trained, he gave it 100%, he listened, it was great to work with, and we got where we wanted to be. Then the David Haye fight came up, and that was just fucking nuts. Took it just to a completely different level. That was where it took it to a level that I never thought that I'd get to. That was just crazy shit. But it was good crazy shit.
That night at Goodison Park, is that the highlight of your career?
Yeah, without a doubt. And do you know what, to this day, I still get loads of people messaging me saying it's the best night of their life, Goodison Park, what a night. Everton fans, whatever fans they are, saying the same thing. It was just brilliant. It's just everything about it was just, I can't explain to you that feeling when we was in the changing rooms and we could hear the crowd bouncing and singing his name. It was nuts. It was really nuts. It was nuts. And then when I walked out and you could see the crowd bouncing, the Gladys Street and all packed out, screaming his name, singing his name. The ring walk was special, was unreal. The introductions was, I can remember it all. It's brilliant, just fantastic. Really, it was something. It was just unbelievable. For me as well, for a kid like me to experience something like that nobody had expected that. Nobody had believed in that. Nobody.
And then he got put on his arse in the first round.
Yeah. I remember when it happened, and as he did his roly-poly backwards, I just went, "You stupid bastard," because he did what I told him not to do. And he came back to the corner, and I had a chat with him, and he was like, "He's done my nose." His nose just felt flat to him, and he went out and did the business. Fucking brilliant. Nobody would beat him that night. King Kong wouldn't have beat him that night. Brilliant. And when that few seconds when he's got him on ropes and he hits him with that right hand, you see McCarver's head just drop, and he hits him with the left hook. Oh my God. Completely lost my shit. That few seconds there was just the best feeling ever. What a night. Brilliant, amazing.
I mean, you mentioned it earlier with kind of the way you are as a parent, and you feel that that's shaped in somewhat due to the way that you were raised. Do you feel like that the way that you were raised, or not raised, so to speak, influenced you in a sense of being a trainer and wanting to do something for somebody else and making it a little bit more special? The fact that you've guided someone and you've really influenced somebody and helped them achieve something where maybe you didn't get that guidance.
I think so. I think if I'd have made it as a world champion or anything like that, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. Whether people think I'm any good or I'm shit or whatever, I actually, in my job, I actually help other people or give them a chance or help them try and make a better life for themselves and try and achieve their dreams. I couldn't get my dreams. My dream was first to be a footballer and then to be a world champion. Couldn't get them dreams. But I kind of like live my dreams through my fighters because of what they're achieving. You look at a Fowler, loses to Fitzgerald, coming back and beating Brian Rose was a massive thing for him. And to see the emotion that was on, that because of what it meant for him. Another one that was a good one is Curtis Woodhouse.
Yeah.
Comes to me with one pro fight, just an absolute joke, right? But he's got a dream. He promised his dad on his deathbed that he wants to become British champion, right? Mate, I'm Curtis's trainer and then his manager, and I had so many setbacks, kept going. And then as his manager, to see him become British champion and see what it meant to it, and see what that more than makes it so much better life than for me than if I'd have won a world title. Because once I've won that world title, I've done what am I going to do next? What impact am I making on other people then? But what I'm trying to do with the people that I work with, I think it's better. It's more satisfaction, you know. Regardless of what anyone, I always say this thing. I don't give a shit. Well, all these people on Twitter want to give me shit, slag me off, say I'm this, say I don't know anything, say all that bollocks. I don't care. You can't take away those moments from me. Curtis winning that British title. You can't take away fucking Jamie McDonald going to Texas twice and winning those world title fights. You can't take away Kell Brook winning a British title with me. You can't take away Ryan Rose coming back when everyone thought he was finished, wrote off, thought he retired. What that meant to him just to win that British title and then beating Jamie Moffat European title, fighting Canelo. You can't take these moments away from me. And you sure as hell can't take away their moments with Tony Bellew. Goodison Park, beating David A twice. People still want to call me Penfold because of what they did. Fuck off. We won. I don't care. You can't take them moments away from me. So I genuinely don't care. Think what you want of me. As long as my kids are happy with what I'm doing and grow up to be happy kids and have a great life, and as long as my fighters that I work with are happy with what I'm doing, I genuinely don't care. So I'm not asked. I'll keep on doing what I'm doing. You keep on judging me as you want to judge me, but know for a fact, whether you fucking hate me or not, I'll carry on doing what I'm doing. Because that's all I know. This is what I do, you know, and it's what I love to do. So I'm not asked. You can't take those moments away from me. You can't make me feel bad by saying I'm shit, I'm this, I'm a midget. Fucking hell, I'm 44. I've been short all my life. Fucking hell, get over it. It doesn't bother me. But regardless of me being short or 7 foot, you can't take the moments away from me. You know, there's. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. There's one thing that terrifies me, and I see it. It's common, and loads of people getting it and stuff like that. Do you know what would actually break my heart is if I had Alzheimer's, if I developed that. That's one thing that I hope I never do, because I feel so. It's like I see what Brendan. Obviously, I weren't with him then, but I hear what Brendan went through, and anybody that's had anything in their life that they're proud of, or what they've achieved, or they've got good memories, great memories, for them not to remember that's awful. So all your Twitter trolls and shit like that, it doesn't mean anything, because I've got memories. While I've got the memories, you can't affect me. It can't affect me, because you can say what you want, but I've had a great crack. Whatever I went through as a kid, it was worth it, because it brought me to where I'm at now. And I've had a fucking right ride. And if it ends tomorrow, and if I lose everything tomorrow, and if I nothing, don't end up with another win, another big win, or anything like that, I'll be disappointed, I'll be devastated, I'll be gutted. But I've already achieved something, and I've already got something that you can't take away from me.
I think that's probably as good a place as any to end this interview. Thank you.
Did you expect this?
No, I didn't expect this either. Well, I had a kind of general outline of what I wanted to talk about, and we didn't really talk about any of it. So I think they tend to be the best interviews. Dave Coldwell, thank you so much, not only for being so open, but also for not choking to death during the interview. That was very much appreciated. I'm sure Hobie Price would be. Well done. Dave Coldwell, thank you so much. Congratulations on an already fantastic career, and long may it continue. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. Appreciate that.
That's great.